Monsieur Picard pour ses mots d'encouragement et de reconnaissance, non seulement pour notre équipe, mais aussi on est très conscient qu'on fait partie de cette grande communauté d'équipes bénévoles à travers le Canada. Alors merci beaucoup pour ces mots.
And now it's my pleasure to introduce Sergeant Jamie Sterling. Sergeant Sterling is the Search and Rescue Coordinator for the Ontario Provincial Police, and he has a special presentation to make. So I'll ask Michael Christensen, our President, to join us as well on stage.
Before I get into butchering the name, I knew SBO, OVSAR, back when they were called SAR Global One, back into 2009, and the passion that I saw in 2009 is still here and very much evident at tonight's function. Tonight is a great example of how our search and rescue policy, how our rescue operations are carried out across our fair country. We have the federal government with collaboration with the provincial government, local municipalities, and the bond that brings us all together, the volunteers across our country and our province. I want to present to you a Commander's Recognition Certificate on behalf of the Ontario Provincial Police and the citizens of Ontario. I wish to thank the SBO, OVSAR, Search and Rescue volunteers on your anniversary of celebrating 20 years of search and rescue and prevention programs dating from 1996 to 2016. Your organization is unique in our country in that the theater of operations spans the two provinces of Ontario and Quebec. It makes you a pioneer in the search and rescue industry. Volunteers are a vital component of the Ontario Provincial Police. As a result, their contributions have made the OPP a much stronger organization. On behalf of the OPP, I wish to say thank you for your contributions to the safety of our citizens. Chief Superintendent Angie Howe. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much to Jamie. I think for volunteers, our organization, you know, the support and the collaboration that we have with tasking agencies is so important. And you know, we're sitting on both sides of the border here. You know, we're very lucky. We can, you know, we operate with the Ontario Provincial Police, with the Ottawa Police Services, also with the City of Ottawa Emergency Management. Et du côté du Québec, on travaille avec la Sûreté du Québec, le ministère de la Sécurité publique. On travaille aussi avec les MRC de l'Outaouais, MRC des Collines de l'Outaouais, MRC de Papineau, MRC de Pontiac, de même que le conseil de bande de Kitigan-Zibi et aussi les paramédics de l'Outaouais. Alors, on apprécie énormément ces liens et tout le soutien qu'on reçoit de ces organisations. Merci beaucoup.
So it's now my pleasure to invite up a senior person. And by that, I don't mean senior citizen, although I think he's approaching that. Gerry Godsoe is the longest serving member of Search and Rescue, our Search and Rescue team. He's been on the, so our team's existed for 20 years, and Gerry's been on the team for 19 of those 20 years. He's probably the most dedicated, committed member of our team. The hours he puts in is incredible. I have the distinct pleasure of having driven to a number of searches with him and actually wrote an article called Driving with Miss Gerry. If you Google it on the internet, I'm sure you can find it. It's very entertaining. So I'd like to invite Gerry. Gerry's also, because he's the longest serving member, he is also our team historian. So Gerry's going to come up and share a few memories. Gerry?
Thank you, Lawrence. I will get you. Good evening, everyone. In his book, Deadly Frontiers, Dean Beebe has written that Canada occupies a unique position in the rarefied world of search and rescue. The second largest country on the planet, Canada has 3 jagged coastlines, an immense internal wilderness, and a vast Arctic to swallow helpless travelers. At the same time, Canada is among the most thinly populated regions on Earth. With minimal state support, Canada's search and rescue communities have been forced to make the most of inadequate resources and equipment across broad seas, forests, and tundra. The result, miraculously, has been a tightly focused, efficient and effective culture of search and rescue that has much to teach the world. Ce soir, je voudrais raconter l'histoire et comment ce groupe a vu le jour et fournir des commentaires sur son histoire. As has been mentioned, volunteers are an important part of Canada's SAR community. Many of Canada's 300 SAR groups came into existence because of tragedy. The origin of SAR Global 1 is exceptional only in that its origin came out of two tragedies. The second began on November 11th, 1995. Chris Brown, a 26-year-old hunter from Wakefield, went missing near Otter Lake in the Pontiac area of Western Quebec. A week-long search was organized by the Sûreté de Québec, during which 150 well-intentioned but untrained volunteers participated. From 10 degrees and rain on November 11th, winter arrived quickly with 30 centimeters of snow and a 20-degree drop in temperature. Unfortunately, no trace was found until 2 years later. On October 11th, 1997, Chris's remains were discovered 10 kilometers from the position last seen. Chris Brown was the first tragedy. The second involved 22-year-old Rick Gray, who was the son of Beverly Pick. Rick disappeared while hiking near Gold River on Vancouver Island in early 1994. Rick was not reported missing for 2 weeks, and the police search lasted 4 days. His mother, Beverly, left her home in West Quebec to search for her son. She stayed in BC for a year and a half, working as general manager for a private SAR group. The follow-up searches for Rick, unfortunately, were inconclusive, although it appears likely that he fell through the ice and drowned. In November 1995, just before the Chris Brown search, Bev had recently returned to West Quebec, and she was one of the people who responded to the request to search. After the SQ stood down in the fall of 1995, the volunteers, coordinated by Bev, continued to search for Chris Brown. Bev understood more than anyone that while police services must focus on the living, the families of missing persons long for closure. Following the Chris Brown search, Bev and others recognized the need for trained volunteers to assist the police, and the idea of SAR Global 1, now SBO OVSAR, was born. In January 1996, Bev began a training program for those interested in learning about SAR and joining the group. Le 8 août 1986, SAR Global 1 a été constitué comme organisme sans but lucratif fédéral, ayant son siège social à la Pêche, au Québec. Bientôt, il a formé un partenariat avec la police de la municipalité régionale des collines des Outaouais. Ce partenariat continue à ce jour. Quelques années plus tard, le groupe a décidé de tendre de l'ouest du Québec à l'est ontarien. Alors que cet grand territoire a parfois été un défi, il a aussi entraîné l'accès à un plus grand bassin de recrues potentielles et d'autres sources d'appui. Le groupe a également reçu l'appui des 2 provinces et les 2 organisations bénévoles provinciales. Comme déjà mentionné, une des choses uniques de SBO OVSAR est sa capacité à travailler au Québec et en Ontario dans les 2 langues officielles pour plusieurs agences, y compris les services de la police locale, régionale et provinciale, ainsi que les autorités autochtones. SBO OVSAR a profité des connaissances, expériences, inspirations, aide et camaraderie de la communauté de recherche et sauvetage de partout au pays. In its brief history, hundreds of people have participated in this group as members, and thousands have benefited from its existence through searches, preventative SAR training, and on occasion, assistance to civil authorities, such as the 1998 ice storm, the 2011 Richelieu floods, and the boil water advisories. Over the years, there have been close to 100 calls for assistance. They've come during every month of the year and every hour of the day. These calls have included over half of the 40 lost person profiles documented by Robert Kester, ranging from abductions to troubled adolescents, dementia to despondence, hikers to hunters, mushroom gatherers to snowshoers. The impacts of SBO OVSAR on members and non-members is sometimes difficult to quantify. The skills learned are both technical, such as first aid, survival, navigation, and communications, and also leadership, helping to prevent problems in the backcountry and being able to take charge in emergency situations. Sometimes the impact is as obvious as the tears of thanks that we receive when we have successful searches, even when the successful search brings closure to a family rather than a happy ending. At other times, the impacts may come months or years later, after a hug-a-tree presentation, in the form of a call from a scout leader saying, "We lost a few, they stayed put, they hugged trees, they waited to be saved, and they were." In looking back over the history of this organization, it is heartening to see how many of the dreams of the visionary pioneers have already come true. The group has grown, increased its capabilities, and is becoming a center of volunteer SAR expertise. Thank you all for your support and for sharing this event with us tonight.
Thank you very much, Gerry. I can very much attest to the reference to the late night calls with search and rescue. I can't tell you how many times I've been woken by Gerry at 2 o'clock in the morning with a call where Gerry just calls and the only voice in the phone is, "Do you want to go for a walk in the woods?" That's how I used to get called out. So thank you, Gerry. I also want to recognize, I mean, we are one among hundreds of teams across the country, volunteer teams across the country and volunteer associations. So I want to make reference to some of the key players from our perspective in the volunteer community. SARVAC, Search and Rescue Volunteer Association of Canada, is a key national leader in the volunteer ground search and rescue community. The Ontario Search and Rescue Volunteer Association, the Association Québécoise Bénévole de Recherche et Sauvetage. We want to recognize Thousand Islands Ground Search and Rescue Team who are sitting in the back. Thank you for coming out. And also recognize members of the National Search and Rescue Secretariat who came to join us today. Oh, right, sorry. I have to do the next one. All right, so now it's very much my pleasure to invite up a very special testimonial from Imran Said and Miss Anne Barnabé Simard.
Hi everybody. What a wonderful venue and what a wonderful opportunity to congratulate you on the great work that you do. My involvement with search and rescue began when a good friend of ours went missing in the Gatineaus, Pierre Despatie. And like a lot of good friends, we thought, okay, we're going to search for him. But my understanding of search and rescue was hug a tree. So it doesn't really help when you're trying to find somebody and you're hugging a tree. So we were kind of caught between who we should call. We called the Ottawa police and they said, well, he's kind of in the Gatineaus. So then we called the Gatineau police and they said, well, he's in Gatineau Park. So you have to call MRC Collins. So we really weren't sure what to do. So we were lucky enough to call Search and Rescue. Back in the day it was Search and Rescue Global 1 and they mobilized. And it was a brutal search. It was hot, it was mosquito infested. It was very difficult for us and it touched us that these people who hadn't even met Pierre were with us searching for him. So that really meant a lot to us. And they actually ultimately helped us find his body to bring closure to a sad event. But on a happy note, we met Search and Rescue. We saw the great work that you guys did and how important it is that you're doing that. And there's a quote that I like about adversity. And the quote is that adversity doesn't build character. Adversity reveals it. And I really saw the character of Search and Rescue that day. So to do something to kind of recognize Pierre's memory and also to help Search and Rescue, we founded the Pierre Despatie Memorial Tennis Tournament 14 years ago. So every year we run an event to remember his memory and to raise money for Search and Rescue. Search and Rescue is usually there as a presence to help share the good work that they do and also to provide first aid, which luckily we haven't needed a whole lot. Probably a lot less than the bad axe throwing competition that's on the silent auction. Anyway, that's my story about my involvement with Search and Rescue, and we're really grateful for all the great work that you guys do. You guys are unsung heroes, so thank you very, very much.